Oh, hey, Mandy.
Well, hello there.
Are you registered to vote?
I sure am.
Oh, that's good. Me too.
I'm very excited about it. If I wasn't, though, you know where I'd go?
Where?
Headcount.org.
Oh, good.
They're a
good.
nonpartisan organization that works with the music and entertainment industry to get fans to vote.
You know what I miss? Going
What?
to live concerts.
Wasn't that fun?
It was nice. Maybe, if we had a competent government, we could go to concerts again.
That's a great idea. And how could we get there? We could
vote! Just vote!
get out
That's
there
so
and
great.
fucking vote, people. I know you don't think your vote counts. You're like all, electoral college, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit.
Well, you need to start giving a shit, motherfucker, I swear to God. And vote for your senators and congressmen, because that filibustering shit that they've been doing is bullshit, and that needs to come to an end, too.
Listen, if you're not sure if you're registered to vote, go to headcount.org, where you'll find all the information you need to be ready for Election Day.
So, register to vote at headcount.org.
And maybe we can go to a concert again someday and rock the fuck back out.
Ah, that would be awesome.
Vote, bitches. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons.
Hi.
We hope everyone's wearing their garments because we have a really special episode, Charlotte.
Yes, duh, with the crotch and everything.
Lauri, are you here with us wearing your garments?
I am, but I forgot my garments at my other home, my Mormon home.
Jesus is judging you. We also have a special guest, Cortney, with us. We know she's wearing her garments. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. I have
Cheers.
the masturbatory the anti-masturbatory device in the corner.
I don't know what that is, but I don't like it.
I'll put a picture in the Facebook group.
I disapprove.
I'm envisioning Robin Hood Men in Tights with that key opening underwear that's made out of bronze.
Nice. No, this is actually more like a cross where they tie the hands down so they can't jerk off.
Oh, well, fun. So this is a real thing, huh?
Do you get whipped?
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Sounds hot.
I'm gonna say no.
Because I think the Passion of the Christ is taking on a whole new meaning for me now.
As I've said in the past, I've been really enjoying the ex-Mormon group on Facebook. And I knew that Mormons were repressed sexually, but I didn't realize to what degree. I knew masturbating was bad, but I didn't realize that if you masturbated, you were supposed to talk to your bishop and tell him in detail what you've done.
I think I knew.
So he can go in the bathroom and jerk off about it?
Yeah, I think I knew that, but I think I blocked that out.
Right. No, I've been reading. It's not just from one or two people. It's a lot of people. And the amount of memes that have been made about it makes me think it's true.
Yeah, we all got out of the church before we were old enough to have to go through
we were
that.
like puberty.
Yeah, we weren't figuring that part of ourselves out, if you will. Hey.
When I was like, hey, let's start a podcast, I didn't think that I would be talking to the world about masturbating, and yet here we are.
I'm almost 40.
I almost died when you told your podcast audience about shit in your underwear and having to leave them at a hotel bar bathroom.
Was that Mandy? I didn't hear that story.
Laura, you're missing out on some real gems.
I need to catch up. I need to get internet here.
All right, ladies, what are we drinking tonight?
I'm drinking the breast milk of my enemies, otherwise known as the Kirkland brand eggnog that has a lot of booze in it.
I've got a bottle of Silver Oak Cab. It's a 2016 from Alexander Valley. This is my second time I've gotten this bottle because I've always really wanted to try it. And the first time I got it, took it to Palm Springs for my birthday. And needless to say, I don't remember what it tasted like. But I was like, if I'm going to spend all this money on a bottle of wine, I'm going to remember what it tastes like. So I'm tasting it. And let me tell you, it's fucking delicious.
It's great.
Sweet. I'm gonna call this Actually. I'm like Charlotte and on the Kirkland Costco drink right now, and it's their version of hard seltzer. So it's like Costco Truly, but Shirley's already a thing, so I'm calling it actually. and then I'm gonna switch over to a Kirkland boxed Pinot Grigio because I am a classy lassie.
Mm-hmm.
Boxed wine is quite the deal. I wish I could drink it, but it makes me puke all over myself. So
that doesn't stop me.
I'm drinking cider instead from Two Towns Cider House. They have a tropical mayhem, which is passion fruit with pineapple, and you think it sounds sweet, but it's not. Holy cannoli, it's delicious. Reminds me of my days in Hawaii with Mandi.
Those were fun
in my
days.
mouth.
Yeah.
So good.
Remember that time when you came back from like scavenging the neighborhood and you had like all this tropical fruit and we made cocktails fresh and you were just like, I found all this stuff in people's yards.
Yep, gutter mango cocktails. The mangoes were still good. They were just laying in the gutter. Like somebody's got to use them.
Yeah, let's clarify. You can't actually just go into people's yards and take fruit in Hawaii because they will get fucking pissed.
They get pissed, yeah.
You have to knock and ask, or you have to find it in the gutter.
You guys drank gutter fruit?
Yes, and it was good. And I'm still alive to tell the story. And I'm probably healthier for it.
Mangoes, starfruit, pomelos.
We had
grapefruits.
We had what was the pomegranates
Lilikoi.
growing right up the street too, and one of the neighbors even had a banana tree, which was awesome because those are rare. Do we have any stories with all of us in Hawaii with Cortney, Mandi, Charlotte, and me?
No.
I don't think we've ever made that happen, huh?
Let's make it happen.
I got to be in Hawaii one time with Mandi when I went to Kauai. She flew on over to hang out with me, Joe, and his family. But yeah, I never made it over when the two of you lived over there.
So does anybody have anything interesting they're reading or watching or listening to?
I started rereading Red Meat on the archives of the internet. And for those who don't remember what Red Meat is, it was like Milkman Dan.
I don't remember any of this.
Courtney, do you know this one?
Sounds familiar to me.
Oh my God. Laura, you know it because we actually had like booklets of it. So it'd be like Karen was always the little girl, would come up and be like, Milkman Dan, have you seen my dog? And then he'd be like eating like a kebab or something. And he would insinuate that he was eating her dog. And then she'd be like, it always ended with, I hate you, Milkman Dan. But like, it was just super inappropriate.
So it's like a comic?
It's like, think of Calvin and Hobbes, only really inappropriate. And then that was like, Milkman Dan was probably one of the most popular ones, but it was also one of the more like tame ones. There's definitely, and I can't remember the names of the other ones, but like it was always very dark and very twisted.
Maybe we could find some images or something and post them on the Instagram.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'll find what I can and put them on both Instagram and Facebook.
I started watching Dead to Me with Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini. I'm about halfway through season 1, and I really like it. It's a good watch.
Yeah, we watched that one too. We watched both seasons of that already.
I haven't been watching or listening to anything because I live in a van down by the river and I don't have internet or electricity.
I heard when they asked what we were drinking, Laura, you should have just confessed that you were drinking prison wine.
Oh, this is my
toilet
fancy
wine.
I'm starting with the nice stuff before I move on to the $3.99 a tall can stuff.
I heard a rumor, Laura, that we might be listening to some crackle and fire in the background.
Yeah, there's going to be some fire because it's my light source and my heat source as well. So I hope you guys can bear with me here.
You're camping.
I am. My life is camping. Yes, the whole thing, all the time. I took a shower yesterday.
Like a real
all those times we practiced urban camping in the backyards of our many rentals that we had.
And now I'm doing it for real. What, the mini rentals or the?
No, I almost forgot all the urban camping adventures we did.
Our neighbors hate us.
Oh God, we were the best neighbors ever. And then that one house, was it Henry House, where they actually sued us for like, I had to pay like something like $1,000 or over $1,000 for restitution and damages because we just destroyed that house.
Listen, that's how you learn and grow.
Yes.
You're like, maybe I shouldn't do that next time. Okay, lesson learned.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, almost learned.
I've never rented. No, I did rent from another lawyer after that, but I did get my deposit back that time. I was much older, more mature.
Funny thing about that, shortly to the time before we left it, there was this little kitchen nook in there that was like covered in fabric. I recall them being over repairing something like a couple of weeks before we moved out, and one of the cats that lived in the house with us had hopped up onto the kitchen nook bench and just took a piss right in front of the landlord, the lawyer landlord, and I'm just like, oh god.
Another memory
Good times.
I would have forgotten.
Good times.
Yeah, my favorite part about doing this is getting to hear the stuff that happened, because I don't remember a lot of these experiences, if you will. Sometimes I black out when I drink, and then other people have to tell me what happened.
Do you remember that one time that we had Crystal convinced for like almost a year that she had given Chuck like a hand job when she was blacked out?
She was so mad when she found out we were lying.
We were kind of mean. I hope I've become a better person.
That was funny though.
She deserved it. I'm sorry, but she totally deserved it.
Does anybody have anything to repent for? I feel like I've already repented for my drunkenness in the episode, which we aired last week. So I would like to repent for that again. I'm sorry I drank 2 bottles of wine before I started recording. It'll never happen again.
Lauri, I don't know if you've heard, but when we were recording something afterwards, meet with me and Erica, Mandy got drunk and fell down off the bench. Just like all of a sudden we hear this big bump, and we're just like, are you okay? And then all of a sudden we get disconnected with a text sent to us, sorry guys, I lost you.
No, I listened to the recording later because I was mortified and I had to delete it. But I listened to it first, and it was like silence for a long time and just like fumbling around noises and screeching and scratching or whatever. And then like it was a good like 3 minutes of just weird noises and both of you going, what's going on? Are you okay? And then I'm like, I'm fine. I slept. Yeah, that's been deleted. Sorry, everybody. You're never going to hear that shit. This might be a great time to add anything you might have forgotten to tell about your trashy daytime TV adventure.
Oh, gosh.
Well, we're just going to continue to be vague. If some of your listeners want to email you guys with any questions, maybe like sometime we'll do a ask me anything.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good idea. I've already had a listener reach out about she had some guesses of where maybe you guys were on it.
Well, let's establish this right now. We're not going to talk about the show. We're not going to say what show it is for legal reasons. So
they'll sue us if we do.
You can ask anything. It's an ask me anything, except for what show it was.
Right.
Yeah. We can tell you what show it wasn't.
I guess I'll repent for that experience. Just in general.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. As we clearly stated before, we didn't know. You didn't know. Like, we thought that legit everybody on that shit was faking. Like, look at the Jerry Springer show. Those people cannot be real.
Except for that they are, Mandy.
Well, I know. Yeah. We know that now, but,
Right. And then we also didn't have any life experience.
That's true. And we were pretty sheltered in, like, a small Northwestern majority white people town. Middle-class white people,
Yeah.
Right.
I guess that show taught me to be grateful for what I have and the life that I have lived. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real. Seriously.
Definitely.
All right. I think we should talk about my 21st birthday in Key West, Florida.
Yes.
That was fun.
Florida gets a really bad rap, and most of Florida sucks. But I miss Key West.
Key West is great.
God, it's so good.
I had seen all the awesome pictures that you guys had not posted because internet, well, it was around, but social media wasn't. But I'd see all your pictures in Florida when you went for Lauri's birthday. And I was like, you know what? we're going for my birthday too, and you're all going.
If Lauri gets to go, I get to go.
You're all going. So yeah, that was really great.
Who was all on that trip?
Well, it was us 4. So, and then Tiffany.
And Tiffany.
Jimmer Jammers was with us.
And Tiffany's boyfriend.
Matt.
Yeah, that's right. Matt was with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was it, right?
Yep. I think that sounds right. Because we all crammed into one hotel room. Right. And that would have been totally
crowded.
We were cheap and poor back then.
That's true. And we still had a good motherfucking time.
We had the best time. So I was super bummed because me and James were flying in. And for whatever reason, it was cheaper to fly into Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami. So, and I didn't realize how fucking far Fort Lauderdale was from Miami. But Lauri, you flew to Fort Lauderdale as well, right? We had a layover in Denver, and we stopped to get lunch because we're like, oh, we have like a 2-hour layover. And I don't know if it was a time warp or what, because I knew what time it was when we got off the plane. Like, not our time, like on a watch, but I looked at the thing. And the next thing I know, our plane's leaving. We missed it entirely. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, and so I was.
Were you drinking, Charlotte?
No, I wasn't 21 yet. We literally made it so that I would turn 21 at midnight in Miami was the plan. So I wasn't 21 yet. We're in the thing, and we hear the gate saying, we heard our names being called saying last chance, and we book it. Like, this is why I've learned now. You find your gate, then you start eating and drinking and doing whatever it is, but you at least know where your gate is and you're close to it. So this was why I learned that lesson. So we missed it, and then I'm fucking pissed because Lauri's meeting us. Now she has to hang out in a hotel by herself. Or not hotel, sorry, the airport for like hours because we missed our connection.
Yeah, a long time.
They put us on another flight maybe 2 to 3 hours later. Well, at that point I did start drinking. I was so mad, and the server was just like, oh, here's your drinks, ma'am. Like, didn't ask for my ID. And but yeah, then we picked up Lauri, and it was like, sorry, but we picked her up like at midnight. So like my birthday had come and went at midnight. I was like, oh.
I was waiting in the airport for like 6 hours.
Yeah, because you had already gotten there earlier than us. Right. Yeah. So then we finally got you. And then so we drove down. It took 2 hours, 2-3 hours, something like that. So we get to Miami at like the sun was coming up. So it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. So maybe it was longer than a 2-hour drive for sure.
Where did you guys fly into?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale is a half an hour away from Miami.
Really? Then maybe we didn't get in till super late at night, but I doubt that the airport's, it's not a 24-hour. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so then the next
Charlotte was angry. We got drunk, went night swimming while the sun rose in the ocean for the first time in the Atlantic. We were in the Atlantic because it was Miami. Right. And so it was the first time ever. And we were so cool.
Yeah, I love that picture. I still have that picture.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then in the morning, we woke up. So we only had like a couple hours of sleep, and then we started our drive down to Key West. And then I was pissed because I was always pissed because we went to the liquor store and she didn't card me, and I'm like, my goddamn birthday.
She had all these things that needed to be checked off her list of that had to happen while she was turning 21. Well, and then we went to the Everglades,
right?
Well, yeah, totally. I got carded, except that they didn't card me either, and I had to ask them. I think BJ was with me, and he's just like behind me motioning, it's her 21st birthday.
It's true.
So then they made a big deal out of it. Yeah, but they weren't going to card me either. And I'm like 5 feet tall and like 110 pounds.
Apparently, Miami just doesn't card underage people. Anyone can drink and get fucking coke and hookers in Miami.
Just do whatever you want. Yeah.
So we're in Miami. We get up in the morning, afternoonish, because we're hungover and we'd stayed up till sunrise. And then we drive to Key West, Key West is like how far of a drive from Miami?
With the fluctuating like speed limits, it can take anywhere from like 3 to 5 hours.
Okay, that's right. I fucking love that drive too. If you guys haven't been to Key West, driving from Miami, it's like they call it like the 7 Mile Bridge or something. Right.
And it's True Lies.
I was gonna say, yeah, as featured in the cinematic hit True Lies
with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is,
Jamie Lee
by the way, yes, and Arnold is an awesome human being. By the way, I just want to say that for everybody. You should follow him on Twitter if you don't.
Just trying to earn some Arnie points.
I just gotta say, dude, he's just rad.
That's me pouring some more boxed wine.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bathroom break too. I was like, oh, someone's gotta pee.
Listen,
Sorry, I don't feel close enough to your audience to take them into the toilet with me.
rule number 1 of the podcast is no last names. Rule number 2 is you mute if you're taking a dump while you're on air.
But not when you're peeing. Peeing, you let everybody hear.
We should edit that
Only
out.
number
That's
2.
disgusting. I don't want anyone to think that I'm building a flower-powered dookie castle.
It's already out there, Mandy. Just ride the wave.
All right. All right, so we get to, you guys, honestly, there's like 3 things I remember about that trip because I was wasted. So you guys are going to have to help fill in the gap. So we got to Key West. It's Charlotte's birthday day.
Yep.
I'm assuming we started going to karaoke or something.
We did. We went out to karaoke. Like, we checked into our hotel. We went out on the town. We went and saw Jimmy Buffett's bullshit, whatever. Because
Why?
Bar hopped,
Jimmy
yeah.
Buffett. And then
we went to Rum Runners.
Right.
Rum Runners karaoke. Does that sound right?
That does sound right. And James, who was a bartender, should know better, reached over the counter to pour himself a Coke or a water or whatever. The bartender kicked him out because you're an idiot. Don't grab shit from behind.
He was trying to show off, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had to go to a different bar.
And that was probably the first time, because me and James had been together for a while, and I was just like, fuck you. I'm not getting kicked out of my karaoke bar for my birthday. You can go. I'm staying. So I think James and somebody else left.
I think it was me. Me and James left.
Okay, and so the rest of us, we stayed and karaoke'd. And then that's when somebody had said it was my birthday, and somebody brought over a waitress dropped off the worst shot of whiskey I've ever tasted in my life. And they're like, it's from that couple over there, which was like a younger couple. Like, happy birthday. I'm like, hey, thanks. And I thought, oh, I'll go say hi to him because they just bought me a shot. How nice. And then they proceeded to invite me back to their room. And I'm like, no, it's my birthday.
It's going to cost more than this shitty whiskey,
right?
bitch.
Well, whiskey.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb and repent right now because now I'm remembering this. I think I have pictures of you wearing like a fringe vest thing. So that was not Rum Runners. That was somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm sure we hit all of the places though, we were definitely out to tear the town down, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I could remember the name of that place because they had a big stage.
I'm sure the name of it was right behind that picture of me in that really awful outfit I was wearing.
Don't worry, everybody. I'll find the outfit and I'll post it on Instagram and Twitter.
Please
do you think it's Sloppy Joe's?
That
could have been
really familiar.
It could have been Sloppy Joe's. Did they do karaoke there?
Charlotte, for your 42nd birthday, let's go back and do a repeat.
Try again for that 3XL mustard t-shirt that says it says pump here for
it's not a beer belly, it's a solar panel. Oh wait, it's not a bald spot, it's a solar panel for a sex machine.
That's right.
Only this time I'll actually fit into it.
Hashtag COVID-15.
I'm glad everyone's here with us as we navigate the waters of the story that nobody remembers together.
Right.
It's hard when you drink a lot,
If let's just get to, if we get to day 2, you have James up at 6
in the morning.
6 in the morning, but you say that that's a bad thing. So yeah, there's some Lauri, there's some James drinking at the pool.
And then I think we found out there was a drive-through liquor store. So we decided to rent bikes and go buy some booze through the drive-through liquor store, right?
Or is that? No, yeah, you're right. You have to have bikes in Key West. That's the cool way to get around Key West. So we were getting the bikes regardless.
But you get yelled at if you're on the street, and you get yelled at if you're on the sidewalk. No one's really.
Yeah, the island is 2-mile radius, I think, and so if you're going to be drunk the whole time, you really don't want to be driving anywhere. So bikes are the most efficient way to get around and and safe for the most part, unless you're drinking heavily like we were.
So speaking of, who wants to tell that story?
My first time in Key West, we got around via moped, and it was fun to ride a moped around Key West for the first like hour and a half. And I was just like, how am I supposed to get drunk if I have this motor vehicle? This is a waste of money. So we went and returned it and got our money back and traded them in for bikes.
You can't get a DUI on a bike. That is a lie. You cannot. You can.
Yeah, you can.
Not in Key West.
We went for a bike ride. I think that we were headed either towards the cemetery or we were headed towards the bar. Some of us are better at riding bikes, and some of us are not very good at riding bikes. And then also some of us get up and hit the pool bar at 6 a.m. And ride bikes.
Okay.
So they're everybody is riding their bikes ahead of us, and I'm lagging behind trying to make sure Jimmer Jammers doesn't get lost or murdered or anything. And we're riding bikes along, and all of a sudden he just swerves into a car and just, oh man, he like demolishes the side of the car. Like it's obviously somebody's rental. He's like scraped his handlebars along the whole side. There's like this big like gouge of paint like missing like the whole car length.
And it was a nice car too, right?
I'm sure it was a rental.
Okay.
And I'm sure
that I was so angry though, remember?
Well, I'm sure that he paid for the insurance, so he wasn't going to have to, nothing was going to come out of his pocket. But James tried to ride off, and I stopped because I'm just like, oh, I can't just like drive away. The guy's right here. He saw everything that happened.
Right.
And he was kind of a big dude too.
Right.
He was pretty big. I didn't want him to get in the car and chase us down.
Yeah.
So I talked to James into coming back, and he tried to make James feel like a piece of shit for a little while. James was like, I'm sorry, man. What do you want? And he basically just shook us down for cash.
He gave him $100
on the street.
His wallet. Yeah,
he gave him a few $100 out of his wallet. It definitely put a hamper on his vacation fund. So eventually, like as James is handing the cash over, I think you guys realized we weren't with you anymore. So you guys had turned around, and I'm just let's just go. So that's James getting shooken down by a tourist in Key West.
Let's not forget what hat James was wearing, and he was wearing in every picture from that vacation.
I don't remember the hat. What is it?
It's a black hat, and it says Dark Circles.
That was his nickname.
That was his nickname. So that's what we refer to him as, because he drank so much, he always had dark circles under his eyes. That's why I thought he was nicknamed that.
It could be differently. It was that James like, what, you want money? And he just like threw money at him.
He did. He wanted to be out of there, and he was just like, we were so drunk.
I'm out of here. I got things to do. I'm too important to be having this conversation right now. But that could just be because I was sleeping with him, so I saw him in a different light.
Yeah,
it was. The guy was going to call the police, and we didn't want the cops. You can get a DUI on a bike, and we also didn't want there to be like a police report. Like I said, the reason the guy probably took a few hundred bucks is because he paid for the insurance on this rental car.
Yeah, because it would have cost way more than that to fix it. I think we should talk about some of our favorite bars that we found in Key West, because I'm trying to struggle remembering some of the names of them, but I know that we spent a lot of time at Sloppy Joe's bar. And then there was that parrot one, Green Parrot.
The Green Parrot, yes. Right. That was my favorite one, because you could drink there after all the other bars closed at 4 a.m, and the Green Parrot would serve you till 6 a.m, and then close until 7 and then reopen, and you could start drinking again.
Let's also not, we spent a lot of money and a lot of time there. And even though, it's not cool anymore, we did spend a lot of time at Fat Tuesdays.
Oh yeah, we did. I loved Fat Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
I still love Fat
slushies.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, that's the daiquiri bar that, extra shot for $1. And it's just like, well, where did my afternoon go?
Yeah, when we go to Vegas, we always go to Fat Tuesday still.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's cold as shit outside. We still go to Fat Tuesday.
It felt like 35 degrees, and we're in Vegas. Like, we have to go to Fat Tuesdays as we're shivering and running inside to get out of the wind to get a slushie. Yeah, that shit's awesome.
My favorite bar in Key West was Denny's.
There are a lot of bars. I'm racking my brain right now trying to remember the bar that used to be like on the ghost tour. It used to be the Morgue. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. With a tree growing out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a tree in the middle of it. I remember also a French restaurant there that I adored. They had this amazing smoked turkey sandwich that I made everybody eat a couple of times.
Right by Ernest Hemingway's house, I believe.
Near, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And there was also that house with the creepy doll, the Robert doll in the window of the attic that was right around there too.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys do the walking ghost tour that they had there?
Yeah.
I didn't. I think I tried to, but then we missed it or something like that.
I didn't do it.
But I never actually did it. How
can we go back?
That bar I was talking about is Captain Tony's, and it looks like another place where we might have even done the karaoke was the Hog's Breath Saloon.
Hog's Breath Saloon. That's it.
Well, when did we go on the booze cruise too? Like, because I felt like that was the day after my birthday, but would that have been the same night?
No, I think we went on the booze cruise, and then that's when Cortney had her mishap.
Okay.
No, I have a black eye on the catamaran booze cruise.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the morning after.
Right.
It was night 2 where Cortney fell because it was just like right away that she was all bashed up.
Yeah, so it must have been that first night.
We were heading back to our hotel room after a fun day of drinking, and we drank too much. I riding a bike and my feet came off the pedals, and I felt myself falling, but my hands were not quick enough to protect me, and the first thing that hit the ground was my face. And then we got back to we walked my bike. Lauri and I were hollering, guys, you
just need to stop.
And then we finally found our way back to the hotel, and I remember Mandi being very concerned that I was going to have a concussion, and she wanted me to go to the hospital. And I was like, I am not going to. Hospital here it's too expensive. Let's get through this.
I was like, you can't go to sleep if you've hit your head. You've smashed your face on the concrete.
Well,
I recall we had a bunch of champagne there, so I said, fine, let's just drink some champagne.
So from what I remember, me and Matt were out front smoking cigarettes and drinking Budweiser, and we saw the security guard talking to some girls on a bicycle, and we're like,
forgot about
what's
the
going
security
on down there? And I go, like, I start walking towards you guys, and the guy's like, hey, do you know these people? I'm like, yeah, those are my friends. And he's just like, okay, then you can come in or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck happened to your face?
Yeah, so Cortney got fucked up. We drank champagne. Eventually, I let her go to sleep.
Taking care of you is too tiring.
Right. And then we had a booze cruise to go on.
Wait, hold on. There's one more thing we need to tell about that story. Because Cortney went to bed with an ice pack for her face.
Oh.
And when she woke up in the morning, the ice was not ice anymore. It had turned from a solid to a liquid.
It's all over.
And she's like, I think I pissed the bed.
I was mortified and wanted to cry because I've never had like a piss the bed story or a crap my pants story, and I thought that I had pissed my pants, and I stepped on somebody trying to go to the bathroom. I was like, no, my bladder's totally full. I don't think I pissed the bed. And anyway, the ice pack that had been made out of a plastic bag had somehow wound up near my crotchal area. And, when we pulled the sheets back, we saw it was my ice pack. So yay! I'm looking forward to my first piss the bed story.
Hey, life is young. You're young yet.
You guys think that we should take a word from our sponsors?
That could be
if we have to, sure, let's do it the thing.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
You have a cat. You have a litter box. Gross. Are you spending tons of dough on fancy cat litter to try to make your home smell like it doesn't harbor a magical box of turds and piss? Not anymore. Introducing Shitty Litter. Shitty Litter is a no-frills cat litter that costs half the price of those high-rent cat litters you're wasting your money on. Shitty Litter smells exactly like the name states. Shitty. Because face it, you have a cat and your home stinks. You ain't fooling anyone.
Shitty Litter can be found at Smith's, Lee's, and other fine retailers. Shitty Litter is offering Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons listeners 20% off your first purchase. Just use the promo code JUDGMENT at checkout. That's promo code JUDGMENT at checkout for 20% off your first purchase of Shitty Litter. All right, so we wake up in the morning. Courtney's relieved to find that she has not, in fact, pissed the bed, but her ice bag has now migrated to her crotchal area and leaked all over. There's people passed out on the floor because we can't afford separate hotel rooms. We have to cram all of us into one, much like our living situations for most of our early lives.
Picture Courtney just looking trash with the ice bag on her head. You could see her black eye and her boob was bruised. So she definitely got some boob bruise
with the Florida fall
from her bicycle fall.
Yeah.
Well, my boobs are so big they get in the way all the time. So they're constantly bruised.
I just use them as punching bags for fun.
Yeah. You guys want to hear this funny story that happened in Key West? I think it happened after the amazing Sunset Booze Cruise that we went on. So Mandi, I think it was Mandi, Lauri, and I, we all split up. What? Did somebody...
Sorry, that was my Chihuahua barking because he's my security guard.
Wait, you live down by the river with a Chihuahua?
I've got a Chihuahua and 2 Huskies. I'm classy, okay?
In a van.
Do not judge me. Do not judge me.
Just kidding. It's not a van. It's a Breaking Bad RV.
It's a goddamn Breaking Bad 1988 Georgie boy, 33-foot RV, okay?
Okay, sorry, Courtney. Go on with your story.
Go ahead.
If you're having a problem keeping that Chihuahua quiet, maybe you should give it some of your prison food.
Come here, little baby boy. You thirsty?
So we went on this amazing Sunset Booze Cruise, and afterwards, so we kind of all went our separate ways. I'm pretty sure, Mandi, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was me, you, and Lauri that went to a bar. It was just us three.
I think that sounds right.
It was a dark bar. Yes.
It was a bar that we went to, and also it was dark out, so I could no longer wear my sunglasses because I couldn't see. I had been using my.
Thank you.
I'd been using the sunglasses to hide the mangled face.
Right. And it was dark outside,
to my
and
neck.
it was a dark, very dimly lit bar. I remember it just being so dark in there, and you're like, I can't. Where are these?
You had some drinks at one point. I got up and I went to the restroom, and a gal followed me into the restroom, and I took a pee. I came out. I started washing my hands. I thought it was kind of weird that somebody had come into the restroom and had not gone into the other stall. But when I was washing my hands, she looked at me. I looked at her and I smiled, and she goes, "Is he here?" I'm like, What are you talking about? She's like, is he here? Is the guy here? I'm like, I don't get it. What are you talking about? She's like, the guy who did that to your face, is he here? And I was like, oh no, I fell down. I had an accident. I crashed my bike. I fell down. There's no fella who did this to my face. She's like, okay, well, whatever you say. I'm gonna go back to my table where I'm with my boyfriend, and we're just gonna watch where you sit down, and he's gonna kick the shit out of him. I'm like, and she leaves the bathroom, and at this point, I'm like, what did I do?
It was me and you, and I think Mandi was left at the table, and we were like, oh man, they're gonna go beat up Mandi. I
was like, do I go back to the table and have her beat up Mandi, beat up Lauri? Does she think that we're all lesbians and that they're just beating the shit out of me? I just recall wondering if I should just leave the bar or if I should go to the table. And eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm going back to the table. If a guy wants to beat up a chick,
we were worried.
We'll see how that happens. In Key West. And anyway, we sat down, we finished our drink. I said, guys, I think it's probably a good idea for us to leave. And
wait,
we left.
I can't remember if this happened or if I was just afraid of it happening, but I felt like James came in or somebody came in, and then that's when we got to fucking go because we were worried that they were going to kick the shit out of James.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And we were like,
and James is not a big man.
No. He's of average to slim build.
He's 5'8" or something. He's just not a huge dude,
I don't recall that part. All I could recall is wanting to leave very badly because I didn't want to know if this guy would hit a woman, and maybe like she felt that she should beat up Mandi
Yeah.
on my behalf, and then we would all get into a big bar brawl. And
I think we came up with those fun stories after the fact, after we'd gotten out of there, and we're reminiscing on it. Yeah.
I know that Tiffany was not feeling well. She was feeling very ill when she got off of that.
She got sunburned.
Yeah, she got off of that booze cruise. So her and Matt left, and I think James had gone with them, and so they got back to the hotel, and then James came back out to meet us. And then that's when we were like, fuck, we got to get out of here because these guys are going to try to kick James's ass.
I don't know if you guys have any other memorable stories about that Key West trip, but I've got one more memory that comes to mind.
Please do tell.
I think it would have been after like Charlotte, Lauri, and James had departed. I don't recall them being there. I recall Matt, not Charlotte, Matt, Tiffany.
Good save.
Matt, Tiffany, Mandi, and I think that we had a hotel room in Pompano Beach.
Oh, yes.
Ringing any bells?
Yes. Oh, my God, yes.
We're hanging out. If we get to the hotel, we're just like, oh, God, what have we done? I think we had a coupon book or something for discount hotels, and you roll in and you're just like, hi, I got a coupon for this cheap hotel. You learn so much as you get older and travel. And you learn that you get what you pay for.
Oh my God.
So the four of us check into this hotel in Pompano Beach, which is the armpit of the Fort Lauderdale area. We're watching TV. I can't recall what happens.
Oh, here, I remember what happens. We opened the door.
Okay.
And I was like, well, the hotel was sketchy, right? Very sketchy. We fling open the door and we're like, this kind of sucks. It's pretty shitty looking, but whatever. We toss our bags to the side, and there's, 2 queen beds or whatever. So I run to the far bed and I jump on it on my back, to like land on it as you would in a hotel room. And the fucking shit collapsed. The whole bedroom. I'm a big girl. I got thick thighs. Whatever. I'm not fat enough to crush an entire hotel room bed. Okay? And then we were like, oh fuck, we're gonna have to pay for this. How do we get out of this? And so I made you come and help me lift it up, and we were just going back and forth about how there was surely 1,000% gonna be a dead hooker under there.
It was like a piece of plyboard or something there.
Yeah, it was terrible. I think there was blood stains.
Oh God.
I could be making that up.
It was just an awful piece of plyboard. I don't think there was a box spring. They just had the bed frame, and yeah, it was
a ghetto nightmare.
Worse than the hotel we stayed at for Richard's hospital?
No.
Okay, because I want to say that is the worst fucking hotel I've ever been in.
Yes.
That's another story.
This was a close second though.
I've stayed in worse hotels than this one in Pompano Beach, but this is the first one we're the best. And we're just like, shit, we ain't paying for this. So we just propped it back up and watched Cops, probably,
or Jerry Springer,
and waited till it was time to go home. But I just remember Pompano.
Yeah, that place was shitty.
Only other thing
I'm glad I missed that.
I remember about that trip was riding our bikes through the Everglades, and Tiffany didn't wear any sunscreen because she never does, and she got the worst sunburn, and she felt so shitty. And we apparently, if you put vinegar on a sunburn, it will neutralize it, but we didn't have any vinegar, so we used pickle juice, and she smelled delicious.
If only I knew then what I know now about lavender essential oil. You'll smell like a fucking
I remember
hippie.
the pickle juice, though. That must have been when I was still around. And I still tell people about the lavender, too. It works, girl.
Totally fucking works. It's like a miracle. You'll smell like a fucking dirty hippie, but it will take the burn out of your
Is
skin.
it worth it?
It's worth it. It's worth it. Depending on how bad you're burned. It's worth
I
it.
don't associate lavender with dirty hippie. I associate patchouli with dirty hippie. Lavender, I think, baby sleepy time.
Well, I think it's because I worked at the co-op for so long, and the bathroom spray we had in there was always lavender, so it makes me think of poop and dirty hippies.
That's fair.
You know what? One other thing that I love about Key West, and I I don't know if this was just one trip memory or if it was just kind of a Key West in general memory, but I think Cortney, you pointed this out to me that the like lattice work in the fences, if you look at it like the way that you look at it, you'll see hearts or whatever, but if you look at it closely in the negative space, the images look like liquor bottles, and that's how you knew where to go during the Prohibition. And they still have all that those old fences up.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was so badass.
It's a great place to vacation. The only thing that sucks about it is it's so expensive to stay down there. It seems like every time I've been to Florida, we've only been able to be down there for 3 days or something.
Not when you cram 6 people into one bedroom.
I'm a grown up. I can't sleep on the floor anymore.
All right, let's make a pledge right now. When COVID's over and we're allowed to travel, let's take our asses back to Key West and we'll do a reunion episode. Oh. We have a Key West hurricane story. I can't remember who was there for that. Lauri was definitely there. Cortney, you were there. But
it was me, you, Lauri, and BJ. This is unless you guys went sometime. There was where the hurricane warning had hit, and it was raining really bad, and we snuck in. We got into a bar, and we were being scared, and the bartender's like, "This happens all the time. Just fucking chill out and get drunk."
Yeah, but wasn't it the only bar that was? Wasn't it the only bar that was open?
A couple of them were.
Yeah, but a lot of them had shut down.
They had closed down the 7 Mile Bridge, so we couldn't go back. We couldn't get away if we wanted to, and it was just that the recommendation was to hunker down and ride it out. Right. And the bartenders were like, "This, don't worry. I understand you guys are scared, but this happens here all the time. Have some drinks." We have pictures of Lauri doing shots with the creepy bartender.
Yeah, island. It's so unlikely that this will actually hit us.
Yeah, they're it's a small target in a huge ocean. It never hits us. Never hits us.
Bartenders just chilling. Come on, you guys, spend some fucking money. You guys are literally just holding onto your drinks with both hands, staring at the TV.
Yeah, I do remember being glued to that TV, just watching what was happening, because it was a pretty big hurricane out there in the Caribbean. And we were that was my first experience with one. Now that I know better, I know exactly what those guys were talking about.
Right.
For sure.
It's the same as if somebody is visiting Washington and you tell them that Mount St. Helens is an active volcano.
Yeah.
It could go at any time.
True.
I want to give all of the credit to that bartender for making us realize that, though, because if it weren't for that bartender, we would have all been the most boring partiers. But we did eventually let the alcohol take over, and then it did turn into a hurricane party to the point where Mandi and I don't even honestly, because it was my 21st birthday and everybody was feeding me so much booze, I pretty much blacked out the majority of the night.
No. I'll tell you what happened later.
Please, because I don't recall myself.
It was that very stormy night. Everybody else went and passed out. You and I, we went back to our hotel room. We had a beachfront hotel, and we went outside, and it was raining.
What happened before that? Because I remember that happening. That's when the adrenaline hit, because it was life or death. But I have no clue what happened between the time at the bar glued to the TV and the bartender telling us to chill out to us being shit-faced coming to at 3:00 in the morning being we're about to die.
Okay, there was a band playing at the bar. I have pictures of you with him, and he's got his guitar in the background, and he's sticking his tongue out, and you are drunk. Just take some shots, and you have your peace fingers up, and so we just hung out there.
Okay, so it wasn't anything crazy.
We hung out there. We got shit-faced. We went back to our hotel. Everybody passed out. Then you and I went outside to go experience the tropical rain, because we had never really experienced that kind of heavy rainfall.
80-degree warm.
Yeah, just downpour like that. And that's when we saw the fucking water spout in the ocean, which is
two.
It was nighttime. Yeah, 2 water spouts at the same time. And it was terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah. It looks like the worst tornado you can imagine from a picture, which, by the way, we've never seen a tornado either, because we didn't have that shit where we grew up. So we're drunk. We're experiencing a hurricane for the first time. We're out in this torrential downpour, and we see 2 water spouts in the ocean.
I just want to add in that my whole life experience with Twisters was from the movie Twister with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. And that's the only reason I was like, it's their sisters.
Right.
And there were 2 of them, and they were weaving in and out, and they were coming straight for us.
Right.
And it was impeding doom.
Yeah, and so we thought that was the hurricane. Because like you don't realize when you're, I know it sounds stupid to like everybody in the world now. It sounds stupid to myself, but like you don't realize when you're not experienced. Because now I see pictures of water spouts. Like there was actually a couple that just happened recently I think it was down in Miami in the same area that were pretty fucking massive. And I wish that I hadn't been so drunk that I could remember that memory a little bit better. Like our cameras were
I
shit
remember
then.
it clear, crystal clear. Like that's when I sobered up. It was my 21st birthday. Everybody was buying me shots. Apparently some dudes, now that Cortney said about the guy with the guitar at the bar, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Just being like sloppy. Hey, I'm 21. Let's get as drunk as I possibly can. But then, like I said, I blacked out from the pretty much start of the night after the first round of shots up until we were about to die from these huge ass, like super impressive water spouts. And I just remember like the rain was so heavy and so warm, but it also tasted like salt water because it was raining the ocean back on us.
Yeah.
And Tiffany and I were like, it's just a hurricane.
Right.
Let's just get drunk and go night-night and not worry about it. Let's not build it up to be a bigger deal than it is, like the coronavirus.
And then Mandy's just like, let's just come and experience this. We've never experienced this before. This is so awesome. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, what's that? And she's like, no, it's the rain. I'm like, Mandy, no, what's that? And she's like, oh my God. And we're both like, oh. It was very frightening.
I'm fucking obsessed with hurricanes now. Like this last one that just hit in Port Charles in Louisiana. Did you guys hear about this? It hit as a Category 5, I think.
Yeah.
I think it hit as a Category 5. Like, it could be a 4. But like I had to work at 6 o'clock the next morning, and I was up watching like Storm Chaser live feed YouTubes till like 3 in the morning because I was so obsessed with seeing what happens inside of a Category 5 hurricane.
I was lucky enough to take a trip through the Midwest during tornado season, and let me tell you, I am feeling your love for storms because it was, that a tornado isn't counted unless an eyewitness reports it in. So like when you're like, 120 tornadoes hit Oklahoma, those are only the ones that were seen by human people and reported. And then, some of them hit towns and stuff. But there's so many of them out there. And we were driving through the Midwest, which has no mountains anywhere. Like, coming from Utah, Washington, you're just surrounded by the Rockies. So you're just used to these, like, steep hills all over around you. Not hills, but mountains. And then when you go to the Midwest, it's like past Colorado, Denver specifically, it just starts flattening out and keeps flattening out. And to the point where it's like the opposite of claustrophobia. There's just too much wide open space, and it's just like freaky. I can't really describe it. But then we were driving through this lightning storm, and it's like, I love lightning, but the Midwest has lightning like we've never seen out here in the West Coast. And I'm seeing there's so much lightning that you can see the silhouettes of a tornado here and there in the background. And I'm like, well, that one looks like it's far away, but like you don't see them till the lightning flashes and the sky lights up. So how do we know that there's not one that's about to like suck us up? It was really bitching in hindsight, but while I was going through it, it was so frightening. I cannot even tell you. It was
You're
really
probably too sober.
Well, probably, but it made me want to be a tornado chaser, and I'm pretty sure that's my new life's dedication. Period.
I have only one kind of good hurricane story. Like out of all the time that I lived in Hawaii, there's 2 seasons, right? There's summer and winter, and and then there's hurricane season from like June to October or whatever. And every hurricane season, there's at least like 4 to 6 hurricanes. But again, it's like once you live in a tropical place, it's like your target is so small that the hurricanes never hit you, and nobody gives a shit at all when a hurricane's coming. Like it just never happens. It never happened the whole time I lived there. But there was 2 instances where it got kind of dangerously close, and the position of it was such that it could shift and be really damaging. So twice that happened. And the first time I was living with my friend April, who, you know, I love her so much. I miss her. But we were living together. It was her and I and Dexter, of course. And so we started bringing in all of our shit. And April, like, collects plants. She has a green thumb. She's just like, she has all this shit everywhere. Not shit, but like all these plants in pots and planters everywhere, all around our house. So we had to bring all that stuff inside, all of our coolers and like lawn chairs. And Lauri, you had left those little globe garden decorations that are solar powered. So we had those everywhere. So we could bring all that stuff in. And so I have this picture of basically our living room was covered in, it looked like the outside. It looked like we were in a jungle in our living room because April had so many plants in there. And Dexter had found a spot right in the middle, and he just sat sentinel in the middle of all those plants, like guarding them for 3 straight days, because that's how long that hurricane was churning south of us, where we were worried that it was going to turn north. So everything was closed. Nobody went to work, and Dexter just sat in the middle of those plants.
And in Hawaii, there's no windows. There's just jealousies, right? So your wall and all of the structures are like not built like they are here on the mainland. So when I was there for a tropical storm, the walls, the whole house was vibrating. I could only imagine what it would have been like for a real storm where.
Yeah, well, it depends on where you live. Like that apartment that April and I lived in was, you know, a lot of those buildings are concrete, thick concrete walls.
Much safer than the Aloha residence.
It's really hard to hang up your posters, though, when you're trying to put nails in concrete.
Yeah, you don't. You have to use that tacky stuff.
Courtney, you got any good hurricane
No,
stories?
I live here. I live in Bellingham. Hey, I got no hurricanes here. I just have the
a Mount St. Helens story, though.
I got the volcanoes trying to kill me.
Do you remember Mount St. Helens?
I remember it exploding. I remember not that many people died. I think only a couple of people died. They had evacuated. I remember it making me, and it's probably the thing that created my life mantra, which is only the paranoid survive.
True.
I remember going back to school after it happened, and the teacher saying, "Oh, so Mount St. Helens happened," and I started saying, "Well, isn't Mount Baker a volcano?" And they're just like, "Well, yes, it is a volcano." I was like, "Well, we're gonna die," and trying to tell my mom we needed to move away because Mount Baker was going to kill us. We had to go somewhere that didn't have volcanoes.
I saw ash from that volcano. I was living in California at the time. I was going to Los Alisos, and I remember being in PE and running the track and having ashes be falling on us, and it was from Mount St. Helens.
That's so crazy. So after hearing you guys' story of Florida, when me and Craig were in Mexico, we were right, out of Puerto Vallarta. They said, we just finished a really nice dinner, had some tacos, and we were playing board games. And our friend Sean was like, "Hey, you guys, I don't want to be like a downer or anything, but there's a Category 3 hurricane heading straight for us." And I'm like, "Hurricane party, woo!" Because I just thought about you guys having such a good time in Florida with your hurricanes, and nobody seemed to think that it was funny or that it would be a good time. And I was like, "No, let's do shots. It's a hurricane party. What are you guys, a bunch of noobs?" And then it became a Category 4 hurricane. Well, I didn't know what any of that meant. I just knew we should drink harder. And
because the harder you drink, the harder the hurricane rages, and that's what you want.
Or you just sleep through it. We didn't know. So actually stayed up till about 2. Everybody finally went to sleep because they're like, "I just can't take the stress of it." I'm like, "You guys are a bunch of pussies." But I stayed up playing dominoes with my friend Gretchen, and we were just drinking wine, and we're like, "Well, if we're gonna go out, might as well." It was just, we were having a good time. But they woke us up early in the morning because I think that's when it had hit a Category 4, and our friend Dawn was like, "Okay, you guys, I need all of your social security numbers, your case of emergency contacts, we might not need to leave. And I'm like, I don't know why you guys are making such a big deal out of this. Like, to me, it's like, this doesn't even make any sense. You guys are being babies. So I finally called Mandi, who lived in Hawaii, because I'm like, well, you deal with hurricanes all the time. And I told her what was going on. I was like, they're all like overreacting, right? She's like, yeah, totally. Can you get to the roof? I'm like, yeah, I think so. She's like, you'll be fine. I was like, okay, cool.
Meanwhile, I was just totally trying to placate her because it was a very, very bad situation that was heading towards her.
Well, if I known it was bad, we would have maybe like taken one of the cars and drove inland. I don't know. I mean, we don't know where we're at. We're in Mexico in like a rented hacienda.
You're safer in a rented hacienda with roof access than being in the fucking jungles in Mexico in a rental car. We're literally
on the beach. Like,
what, Lauri?
I said, I don't know if that analogy applies to a hurricane, though, because with hurricanes, you die from being sucked into water with floating debris, where drunk car accidents, it's like your body's loose. I like that that's how you got through it.
Drunk and not care as much, to be honest.
That's the point. If I'm gonna die or be injured, I definitely want to be drunk.
Right. I'd rather not notice as much as I would if I were sober.
What I'm gonna tell you is when you bash your face into the ground at Key West and you look at yourself in the mirror, make sure you're drunk because you're gonna feel okay about yourself.
And that's why we drink.
All the time, because you never know when you might, get in an accident. You should always be drunk for it.
And you should always be dressed fabulous because ghost outfits.
We were having discussion. If you're wearing high heels that are uncomfortable in real life, would they also be uncomfortable when you're a ghost?
I'm saying no.
I think it depends on how terrible of a person you were in life. That might be your hell.
No, because you don't have any weight. There's no gravity pulling you down. So it's just all about the aesthetic and the fashion.
Just the gravity of your guilt.
All right, listen, I got to start drinking. It's way past I was going to say bedtime, my drinking bedtime. By start drinking, I mean I need to keep drinking.
Right. My booze hole is very dry.
And if I keep drinking while I'm talking to you on air, it's gonna get sloppy.
It's true. All right, so let's say goodbye. Thank you, guests. Thanks for coming on. And then also those who can subscribe, give us a review. We're still giving out stickers if you want them. So just leave us a review on Apple Podcast and then DM or email us and we will send some stickers to you. But we want to see pictures of them after we do. So, graffiti your town.
Vandalize your town.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Jesus and I love you, Mandi.
Jesus and I love you, Charlotte. This has been Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons.
The worst.